Hello, my name is Tonya Sattler-Grayson, and I am a Value Consulting Director at Oracle.
Hello, my name is Anthony Balducci, and I am also a Value Consulting Director at Oracle. Welcome to Oracle CloudWorld and the Build Your Business Case to Migrate from On-Premise to Cloud session. As I mentioned, my name is Anthony Balducci, and I'll be joined by Tonya for today's session. We will discuss how Oracle can help you, as the session title suggests, build your business case to migrate from on-premise to cloud. Before we do that, though, we will evaluate your current technology, review some myths on why companies do not move to the cloud, and debunk those myths, aka the reality. By the way, I like to say the word debunk, so see if you can catch how many times I say it in the presentation. A little bit about me. I joined Oracle in November 2021, and before that, I managed several large-scale implementations for customers moving from on-premise to cloud solutions. I also developed business cases for those projects as a consultant and developed business cases as a cloud customer prior to that. I have my MBA in finance and I am Six Sigma certified. Enough about me, let's talk about moving to the cloud. Everything seems to be happening much faster around us. We find ourselves living in a swirl of change, unrest, and rising expectations. Of course, change is not new, but the velocity and frequency of change is unprecedented. The expectation of customers, employees, and constituents continue to move. There are new business models, mergers and acquisitions, supply chain disruptions, to say the least. Your ability to move swiftly and adapt despite these headwinds is often what separates victors from victims. Many companies feel paralyzed, stuck in a world of technical debt and complex, inflexible IT infrastructure. With on-premise solutions bolted together over the years, the technology designed to simplify and create business agility has actually made it more complicated, expensive, and limiting than thought. This lack of complete and integrated solutions has impacted your most important asset, your people. And no one is getting the solutions they hope for. Executives are lacking the ability to respond to market opportunities. Line of business leaders cannot optimize and adapt business processes to meet changing business needs. Your team members are juggling more logins and UIs than ever before while still doing many, many tasks manually. Who doesn't have a list of logins and passwords on a notepad on their desk, for those of you who work remotely, with all those logins and UIs and everything else to keep you straight? And of course, they all have different password requirements, which complicates life even more. And the IT organization, you're spending more and bound by more complexity than any time in the last 20 years. Cloud digital technologies are the most powerful way to give companies the capabilities they need to thrive in today's business environment. These cloud technologies redefine how you modernize, innovate, and compete in today's digital world. With the push to cloud, we see more customers moving to the cloud and driving the need to identify business value. We're going to discuss how we can help you identify the business value and how we can help build a robust business case to move from on-prem to the cloud. But before we do that, I would like to dispel some of the common myths around moving to the cloud that we often hear. Moving to the cloud is complex. With Oracle Cloud applications, organizations should not worry about outgrowing their technology. Each application has built-in scalability that's been tested in extreme scenarios. This reduces the complexity of your current footprint. That makes it easier. The cloud lacks security. Oracle Cloud applications are designed for maximum security and reduced risk thanks to self-repairing systems on Oracle's autonomy. Once again, another myth to debunk. Moving to the cloud is risky. We hear this one a lot. IT departments like to have the control over databases and applications. But Oracle Cloud applications give organizations the flexibility to respond quickly and easily to changing industry conditions. You're not bound by what you currently have. Emerging technologies are there, and customer demands reducing your risk of obsolescence. Once again, debunked. Moving to the cloud can be time-consuming. With Oracle's automated business processes and unified data access, organizations can dramatically reduce errors, remove manual processes, and free up time for your people to perform their value-added tasks. It is an investment in your business. Who doesn't want that? Another myth moving to the cloud, and this is a big one, it's costly. It's costly to run, it's expensive to maintain. With Oracle Cloud, we can to radically reduce expenses, especially when it comes to hardware maintenance and IT. The next slide will detail the visible and invisible costs associated with both on-prem and cloud solutions. Another myth debunked. Like I told you earlier, we're counting the number of debunks. It'll be a quiz at the end if it weren't live. Here we see how the Oracle Cloud applications can dramatically reduce expenses, especially when it comes to hardware maintenance and IT. We have visible costs and invisible costs for both on-prem and Oracle Cloud, annual support and annual subscription respectively. But the hidden costs are where the Oracle Cloud can reduce your costs. For on-prem solutions, we have higher IT staffing costs to managing the system from databases, applications, integrations, etc. There's everyday costs of running the hardware and software of the data center. There's maintenance and operations. And on top of that, you have aging hardware and software every day, which eventually you'll have to upgrade. And upgrades get costly when you have to hire consultants to help manage your upgrades, softwares, and have a whole project team in place. With Oracle Cloud, you can eliminate most of these costs. In short, we have many customers that have successfully migrated to the cloud and have realized significant benefits, not just the total cost of ownership that I just went through, but business benefits as well. We have a dedicated team at Oracle that can help identify those benefits for you and help the business develop a business case for your move to the cloud. Tonya will now discuss the team and how we can help you develop that business case. Tonya, over to you.
Thank you, Anthony. That was great information. Thanks so much for sharing it. So as you just heard, Anthony spoke on some of the reasons companies do not initially transition to cloud. Then he shared the reality dispelling those reasons. I'm going to talk more about the reality of the business case and how the business case is often leveraged to show benefits and value, which essentially is why some companies ultimately move to cloud. Before we get into the business case itself, I'd like to bring your attention to a few recent studies that have been done regarding cloud technology. The first one shows that IT leaders say that on average, 66% of what they plan to spend on application software will be allocated to cloud technologies. And that kind of explains the next study you see here, which shows that 85% of IT leaders state they plan to be mostly cloud by the year 2025. You see, cloud is not just a fad, nor is it coincidental that it's become so popular. The reality is cloud equals value. And more companies are beginning to realize that value. So if cloud equals value, why hasn't every organization transitioned to cloud? Well, I'd say the answer is probably in this last study, and I bet you would probably agree that your organization is part of the 100% that requires some type of business justification in order for you to upgrade your current technology to cloud. Now, in my personal opinion, I don't think that's a bad thing. If my husband came to me and said, I want to buy the new Tesla with the full self-driving capabilities, now I probably wouldn't say no. But before I said yes, I definitely want to understand the benefits compared to our current vehicle that doesn't drive itself. So yes, it does make good business sense for companies to require justification, but here is the problem. We find that companies tell us that they don't really have the internal resources or the time to develop a compelling business case, a business case that their C-suite will openly embrace. So they end up doing nothing at all, or they end up like me, paying large dollars to a consulting firm to create a business case. My name is Tonya Sattler Grayson, and prior to joining Oracle, I was the chief of human resources at a few organizations, of which I actually implemented about 8 different systems. And I spent a lot of money hiring consulting firms to help me develop those business cases just to justify the project. At one point, I felt like I had implemented so many new systems that I realized that I may actually qualify to sit for the national PMP exam. And yes, I did. And as a result, not only am I nationally certified as a professional in human resources, but I am also certified as a project management professional. I joined Oracle about 3 years ago, and my colleague Anthony and I are leaders on the Business Value Services team. Our team helps organizations like yours create that compelling business case. And we do so at no charge with no obligations for you to subscribe to Oracle Cloud. But much like Anthony and myself, our teams are mostly previous industry leaders. So we understand that when an organization is asked to spend time or money on anything, that organization wants to make sure that it aligns to their goals and their objectives. So the first thing that we do from our perspective is we get a very clear understanding of your goals and objectives. And then we kind of tap into how your business is run. That way, we can really help you quantify and qualify benefits and cost savings that may be associated with implementation to the cloud. So let's kind of start at the top and talk about how we help you create a business case. Well, our focus is really on three key areas. The first being your current state. So for this area, we ask a lot of questions of you. We ask you about, various business processes that you have. We also want to know things about what type of technology and tools and techniques you're using. And then when we look at the second area, which is what we call our business enablement focus, it's a pretty big area for us, but we want to know what type of issues are affecting your business, what challenges and roadblocks you're experiencing. We also want to know about your leaders. What type of accessibility do they have to that data that they need in order to make those effective decisions? Now, if you look all the way to the right, our last key focus is more related to the investment and returns. Now, this is a key focus for the business case because we want to ensure that you have a very, very clear understanding, big picture understanding of the anticipated returns that you're going to get from the investment that you're considering. Now, when we look at those three areas, we keep those three areas in mind, and then we typically follow a 5-step methodology, which begins with what we call the connect phase. Now, I often describe this phase as our first real date. I know a little bit about you and your company, but now I want to know a little bit more about you. I want to know things like, what's your intentions? What's your strategy, your timeline? What's in and out of scope for you? And if we both agree to continue this relationship, we can then invite others to a future project kickoff meeting. So the connection is more so the foundation for our joint execution plan. That actually takes us to the next step, which is what we call our learn phase. So this learn phase does cover a lot. And this is where we ask for the most time from you. During the learn phase, we're pretty much in lockstep. We're actually holding hands, I'll just say it like that. So we begin to ask you for data and documents. That way we can help you align the project to the actual business. This is also when we begin to have, those discussions with your leaders and your business owners. So let me give you a little bit more of a visual into that learn phase. Remember, I recently said the learn phase is where we ask for the most time from you. Well, along with asking that you provide us with data and documents, We also ask that you complete a questionnaire. This questionnaire kind of asks for some of your data points, such as things like what's your employee turnover rate? How many days does it take you to close your finance books? Or what's the number of days it takes you to fill a vacancy? Things like that. But these data points really help you calculate time and cost savings as a result of your transition to cloud. Now, if you look more to the right of the screen here, you'll see we also facilitate discovery workshops. That way we can learn even more about your business. So we schedule 30, 60-minute sessions with some of your leaders and stakeholders so that we can kind of understand your goals, your challenges, and your desires. Now, of course, we do work with your project leader to determine who we should meet with, when we should meet with them, and for how long. But these discussions are pretty critical to aligning the business case to your company's vision and your company's goals, and really understanding the time and money you can save with a move to cloud technology. Now, I shared all of that, and I know you're probably asking the question that we often get. How much time will this learn phase take you? Well, we're actually doing most of the work, but we do find it takes customers about an hour or two to complete the questionnaire, and the discovery workshop in totality takes about an average of 6 to 8 hours, which we can schedule over several different days or weeks, whatever works for your schedule. So now let's go back to the 5-step methodology. After learning as much as possible about your company, we began what we call the analyze phase. We review everything we've learned and gathered. We research competitors and industry benchmarks. We outline what's possible, and then we schedule a checkpoint date so that we can validate with you what we've done so far. This is a phase where we both are trying to determine if we are really a good match. So once we've made that decision and you are comfortable with the preliminary analysis, we move to the share phase. Now, keep in mind, the entire process, we have a solution engineer involved, a solution architect involved, and a solution implementer involved. Again, this is at no charge to you and no obligations for you to buy anything. But the share phase is when you will see a demonstration of the solution if you haven't seen that already. But the share phase is also a big deal because this is the phase where the business case is actually delivered as part of the executive package. So now let me elaborate on that just a little bit, because if you recall, I mentioned that the 5-step methodology requires collaboration. This is because there's several documents and activities resulting from the joint engagement itself. We'll document your strategies and outline your pain points, and a solution engineer will provide scheduled demonstrations of the solutions that will address the pain points that you've shared with us. You'll also get a technical diagram with the solution architect's recommendations in it. They're going to recommend which system should be replaced with a cloud solution. And you'll also get a very detailed statement of work with a roadmap that outlines the recommended implementation plan based on the recommendations of which solutions you should implement. Now, portions of each one of these documents make up the executive presentation. And our team is equipped to present the information to your board or your executive leadership team. And in some cases, our customers say they prefer to just get the executive package and they present it in their voices. So now I'd like to spend just a few minutes on the last step, our measure phase, because at this point, you've made the decision to stay in the relationship and we've implemented Oracle Cloud with you. Once you've used your solution for about about 9-12 months. An Oracle Success Manager will help you measure the improvements you've realized while using Oracle Cloud. Now, we've all heard the saying by the management guru, Peter Drucker, what gets measured gets done. Well, Oracle's goal is to ensure you have a measurable and a value-oriented success story. We want to make sure that you're getting a true return on your investment, one that could potentially grow your business and increase your revenue. Now, if you're not getting the value expected, your success manager helps in whatever way necessary to help guide you. So, as I close out the discussion on the business case, I'd like to share just a sample of some of the content you can expect in the business case presentation. But remember, your business case is tailored to your needs. So it may or may not include some of the information I'm about to share, but you can also have additional information. So the first thing that you'll see here is that you'll get that executive summary. The executive summary is going to give you that overview, that high-level overview of the engagement, recommendations, and findings. And frequently, we facilitate an initial self-assessment, and we provide you with what we call a snapshot of your baseline, so you can measure your progress all the way through implementation and usage of the solution. We also give you details and a graphical view of your return on investment calculations, your total cost of ownership, your headcount savings, and other benefits that we identify along the way. Now, one of the other things we do like to do is provide you with a recommendation on what, when, and how you should implement your cloud solution. So the purpose of the executive package is really to give you what you need as a business case to evaluate and justify your transition from an on-prem system to a cloud-based solution. Now, if your company is like most companies, the business case is not just a nice to have, it's a must have. So feel free to call on us for help. Now, we do recognize that we've covered a lot in this 25 minutes, but hopefully you found what we had to share very helpful to you. If you happen to have any questions or would like to take advantage of our free business value services, please let us know. We really appreciate your interest in wanting to learn more about creating a business case. And my colleague, Anthony, is going to close us out and give you a little bit of more information on how to contact us.
Thank you, Tonya. In summary, we discussed the current business environment, we debunked some of the myths of why companies do not move to the cloud, and provided you information on how we can assist you in building a robust business case for you, as Tonya detailed. If you have any questions or would like to talk more about this free service, please contact your account representative. They will also be able to provide you information on how you finance your cloud subscription and get your current software license evaluated for credit should you decide to migrate from on-prem to Oracle Cloud. But remember, reach out to your account representative. They'll reach out to Tonya or I or someone else on our team to help you develop that business case. Thank you very much for your time and enjoy the rest of CloudWorld.